Welcome to The Warp. I'm Jack Rita, and in this video I'm going to be talking about a very powerful artifact, and that is the OmniZap. Now this is an artifact that first showed up in the reward deck for Cosmic Dominion, and it was part of the design process where we were looking at what kinds of artifacts should be included in that second reward deck. And in previous incarnations of Cosmic Encounter, there have been a lot of different kinds of zaps, some official, some unofficial. So things like Moon Zap and Kicker Zap and Reinforcement Zap and Destiny Zap and all kinds of other things. And we had a pretty short discussion that ended with don't want to have a wide variety of zaps. We kind of liked that the card zap covers both artifacts and flares, so you don't have to have an artifact zap and a flare zap. It is kind of combined in there. But we did like the idea of opening it up a little bit more and having some other elements in there. So what does the OmniZap do? Well, it says zaps anything, but that is within reason. And it is explained in a little more detail on the card. So play at any time to copy the effect of any other zap artifact you name. So you can say, yeah, I'm just going to use this as a card zap or a ship zap, or to cancel and discard any one card that has just been played or revealed. So that really opens it up for a lot of other effects. Then there's some little explainer text there where it says, if the encounter or an alien power is now unplayable, for example, by zapping a Destiny encounter card, a Claw or Schizoid card, then an appropriate replacement is drawn or played, drawing a new hand if necessary. So that was in there, again, just so that we could try to get out in front of a lot of questions. Not that some people can't always find a question to ask, but it does, I think, handle a lot of those situations so that you understand what to do. And then the last part of the OmniZap is kind of a cost associated with it, because I believe it was Bill Martinson that suggested that this is pretty powerful. It's got a lot of latitude in how it can be used. So to temper that a little bit, we put in, after use, remove one of your ships from the game or send 3 of your ships to the warp. So a lot of the time, this is not going to be a big deal. You're probably just going to send 3 of your ships to the warp. But later in the game, that may be more difficult and more costly. And then even sending one of your ships into the nether so that it's out of the game is also kind of a painful choice in order to play the zap. Now, there are certain things that people have asked questions about. So, for instance, can you zap a space station card? Or what about a moon card? Because you've kept it secret and now you're revealing it. I want to do that. But this is not meant to zap those things because those are really reference cards. You can't zap a Lux card either. That, again, it's a reference card. So my understanding of how this should work is that it will not have effect on those types of things. But somebody says, I'm playing a kicker, boom, you can zap that. They're playing a reinforcement, zap. And there's a lot of other effects in the game that involve revealing cards or playing cards, including essence cards. And the OmniZap does have effect on those. So another OmniZap was added in Cosmic Odyssey's reward deck. So now there are 2 OmniZaps in the game, potentially. And again, they have that cost on there. So it's a card that won't necessarily be abused. And I'm thinking specifically of something like Mesmer. Now, Mesmer is an alien that can take any artifact that they have and they can turn it into any other artifact. And so you can imagine that if they had a lot of OmniZaps that didn't have the cost at the bottom, it could be extremely abusive. But yeah, Mesmer have to really be, certain that they want to use an artifact as an OmniZap if it means they're going to be losing 3 or 1 of their ships every time they do so. Of course, they can always save 1 artifact for a Mobius tube so they can get all those ships out at the start of their turn. But I've yet to see that happen. It might be an interesting thing to put on a cosmic bucket list. you play several OmniZaps as Mesmer, and then Mobius tubes all of those ships back out on the next encounter. Something like that. So let me know, what are your thoughts? Do you like OmniZap? Do you think it's a good card to have in there? Are you glad that there's now two, or is one too many? Is two too many? Is the other thing. Would you have preferred seeing something that was a little more specific, like a zap that only affects another class of cards, or has some other constraints on there? Let me know in the comments. I'm pretty happy with the OmniZap. Again, it was a camel that was built by a committee, but I think it turned out pretty well, and well enough that I added another one in Odyssey. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.